Hey guys, Rhett here. What's going on? Quick emergency video on something that I have to address. I'm getting calls and emails left and right about this, and I wanted to talk about it. So there's a lot of information going around right now about seller financing deals and the ability to buy real estate for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. And you guys have to ask yourself a couple questions. Number one, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's number one. Let's talk a little bit about seller financing, okay? Seller financing is when a seller of a property would rather be the bank, okay? So in seller financing deals, the seller is gonna be the one that holds your loan, that carries your loan, and you pay them every single month, okay? Now, finding seller financing deals is extremely hard because a lot of sellers don't want to finance deals. A lot of sellers want to get their money and run. I would want to do that. Would you want to hold a loan for a term of 10 to 20 years with balloon payments that can just be refinanced over and over again? Of course you don't. Neither would I. So, finding these sellers is incredibly hard, number one. And if you do find them, it's extremely hard to scale, okay? The scaling aspect of this is ridiculously hard, okay? You might be able to find one, you might be able to find two, but finding a large amount of these deals over the course of a year, 2 years is gonna be extremely hard. You're not gonna be able to scale. That's my first problem with it, okay? Getting into an investment that's not scalable. That's issue number one. Issue number two is people that do seller financing, there may be a reason why they don't want to just put the property on the market. And you have to look into that. A lot of people that sell tax liens or tax deeds, they don't actually own an equitable title. So they don't own real property. They don't own the actual deed or the title of the property. Therefore, they can't legally sell it. So they have to find different ways in going about trying to get money for the property other than renting it. That's my first issue with that aspect of it. My second issue with that aspect of it is a lot of times if you are the one that is signing a seller financing contract, in my experience with the clients that I have that have gotten into these contracts before we started working together, the majority of these contracts are extremely, extremely predatory. And what I mean by that is clauses in there where if you miss a payment, you lose all your rights to the property and the property immediately gets reverted back. There's tons of fine print in these things. Sellers don't usually transfer titles and ownership rights. So usually you don't even own the property, you're a co-owner. And the seller still has a predominant stake in the property as well as the ability to refinance, pull equity. It's a nightmare. It's a complete nightmare, okay? So if you're one of those people that's thinking about getting into this, getting into a seller financing deal and you don't have your own personal attorney going over it, you're extremely naive. Don't think you can get into real estate and buy all these units for such a low amount of money. Okay, it's you weren't born yesterday. Don't think that you can do that. If you could do that, I would buy hundreds and hundreds of properties in the next month and seller finance every single one of them, because why would I not? Right? Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. I need you guys to use your brains. This is not get rich quick. Stop trying to get rich quick. Stop, seeing all the glitz and the glam and think that you can buy 100 properties or 50 properties in 2 seconds. It's not how it is. You're all competing for similar properties. And if there's 100 properties, only 3 of them the owners will want to do owner financing for, okay? This is not a very common thing. You might be able to find a diamond in the rough, but will you find a diamond in the rough of a seller who wants to give you seller financing and you sign a contract that's not predatory? Come on, guys. You got to use your brains. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Okay, there's a reason people aren't doing this on an extremely grand scale. The deals aren't available. It's so hard to find seller financing deals, and then finding one that's actually a good deal for you is a totally other ballpark, okay? It's so much harder than you could ever think that it is. So don't fall into this trap of thinking you can put $1,000 down, $2,000 down, $3,000 down for property when it's just not realistic, okay? I don't want you guys falling into that. It's not realistic. And let me give you another aspect of this, okay? If I was doing a seller financing deal, I would make that contract so unbelievably brutal for the buyer for a couple reasons. Number one, the buyer's doing seller financing because they can't afford to put more money down, or they don't have experience in real estate. Because a lot of very experienced real estate investors won't do seller financing for two reasons. Number one, they don't want to get tied up in bed with somebody as a lender for 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, whatever the term is. That's number one. But number two, experienced people in real estate have money and would never do something like this. They know that it's a pipe dream and it's not realistic. So you might be able to find one, you might be able to find two. You're definitely not gonna be able to find 50 or 100 if that's how many properties you wanna get to. So guys, just be smart, ask questions, please. If it's too good to be true, it is. This is real estate. Think about why other people aren't doing this, okay? To get back briefly, I kind of got off topic, but if I were seller financing, the contracts that I would give my buyers would be just awful. They'd be terrible. I'd make sure that they were ironclad, and that if a buyer screwed up here or screwed up there, everything would come back to me. Because as a seller, you're taking on so much risk. You're acting as a bank. I don't want 10 or 15, 20% over the course of 20 years. I want my $300,000 now, because 20 years from now, with the way things are going, $300,000 20 years from now is gonna be, 100 grand. So it doesn't even make sense. Guys, think. If you've done one seller financing deal, great. If you've done two, amazing. If you've done three, incredible. How long has it taken you? And if you're looking at seller financing deals, all of a sudden you're probably like, wait a second, this is a lot harder to find than I thought. So guys, there's a ton of information out there. That doesn't mean that it's all good information. I'll tell you, most of it isn't good. So ask questions, drop a question comment below. I'll get to all of them, and we'll see you next time.